God created marriage to bless us and fulfill us, and it will do that if we serve each other. If we don't serve each other, it won't do that. Okay. And so here's two reasons for that. We can't meet our own needs. If I could meet my own needs, I wouldn't get married. But because there are needs in my life that I can't meet, that only Karen can meet, that I marry her. So you can't meet your own needs. That's why you get married. Secondly, we're sworn to fidelity. When we get married, I'm marrying you, and we're marrying each other to meet each other's needs, but I'm sworn to fidelity. I can't shop in other stores. If your shelves are empty, I can't shop in another store, not legally anyway. And so I'm sworn to fidelity, and I can't meet my own needs, so I'm at your mercy. We're at each other's mercy. And so marriage only works when you serve each other. And this is called the servant rules. I want to talk to you about how to serve each other. Marriage only works when you serve each other, and there are problems with us serving each other. Let me talk about some of these problems. The first is selfishness. And marriage is brutal on selfish people. If you're selfish, you're just going to have a horrible time being married. And I was selfish. I was extremely selfish as a young husband, and we had a terrible marriage. So let me say something to you. I want you to listen to me. Every husband has what his wife needs, and every wife has what her husband needs. And let me tell you the proof of that. You fell in love. You fell in love because you were meeting needs in each other. In other words, your store. Let's just say, before you got married, you cleaned the windows in your store, and you put, things in the store to attract somebody, and you put a big open sign in the door, and you put the shelves, all the shelves were just lined with great merchandise, and you were waiting for a customer. And here came your prospective spouse, and they walked in the door, and they said, "Wow, man, you got a nice store." They said, "Thank you." You had a wonderful attitude. You were a servant with a great attitude. And they said, "Man, you got some great stuff in here." You said, "Thank you so much." And, "Well, do you have this?" And you said, "Sure do." And you ran over and got it and brought it back and served them with a great attitude. And they said, "Wow, I really like that." And they said, "Do you have this?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And you ran over and got it and brought it back and served them with a great attitude. And they said, "Do you have this?" And you said, "Yes, but that's in the when you marry me section right over there." That's my dad guarding that section over there. But yes, I do have that, by the way. And you shopped in each other's stores, and you fell in love because you served each other with a great attitude. You loved what they were serving you, and so you fell in love. But as soon as they became a loyal customer, you got lazy and took them for granted. And the thing that made you fall in love is now the reason that you're falling out of love. That's what happened to Karen and me. When Karen and I were dating, I was 16 years old when we started dating. We were in biology class together, and Karen she's gorgeous, and I just always thought she was beautiful. I was in class with her all year, but I didn't ask her out until May because I had a policy that I didn't date girls I was in class with. I don't know how I had that policy, maybe because of all the girls that I broke up with that hated me and stuff. So, but Karen was dating some jerk senior. She still won't tell the truth about it. She says they weren't dating, so I would come into class, and her boyfriend was an athlete, really good athlete. I ran track, he ran track. He was the best track guy in the country. And so he ran track, a handsome guy, and she wore his leather jacket. But they weren't dating. And I would walk into class, and she'd be just kind of, like this, kind of standing next to him. And I just gave him horrible looks all the time. But I sat behind her in biology class, and I just thought she's beautiful, and I really like her. So I fell in love with Karen. I fell in love with Karen. But I just knocked myself out. And I showed her my best side, always showed her my best side, until I had secured the relationship. And you fast forward in our relationship 5 years later, I was a lazy husband that resented having to serve my wife. And that's why we had so much problem. Well, let me tell you about, this is not a biblically accurate story. Let me just say that right now. But it's a good one. And so to illustrate this point, I want to talk to you about a hell marriage and a heaven marriage. And I want to show you a picture of hell and a picture of heaven. So we can't meet our own needs, okay? And we're sworn to fidelity to each other, okay? So in heaven, there is a huge banquet table, and God is there, and the angels are there, and couples are seated across from each other at the banquet table. But we have utensils strapped on our hands that are long. They're too long to get food and bring it back to our own mouths. We can't feed ourselves. But we're seated across from our spouse. And the heaven's banquet table is just incredible. It's just this incredible meal. And so in heaven, the picture is spouses are seated across from each other, and they're serving each other, and they're saying, baby, what are you hungry for? You want some green beans? You want some mashed potatoes? You want some chicken? What is it you want? I think they're better than chicken. Anyway, but they're just sitting there serving each other. So you can't serve yourself, and you've got what your spouse needs. Your store is full of what your spouse needs. You fell in love. But here's a hell marriage. In hell, the same banquet table is in hell. Now, God's not there, the angels aren't there, but this banquet table is loaded with the most delicious, incredible food, and couples are seated across from each other, and they have utensils strapped to their hands, and the utensils are too long for them to scoop food and bring it back to their own mouths, and they sit there and starve because they're too selfish to serve each other. And that's why they're in hell. So you can choose to have a heaven marriage or a hell marriage. It's your choice. If you will serve your spouse, you will have a heaven marriage, because everything that your spouse needs is in your store. But they're at your mercy. They're at the mercy of your attitude. They're at the mercy of your work ethic. They're at the mercy of you loving them enough to serve them and meet their needs. Selfishness is the number one problem.